posting a HiveMind link again if people want to get their questions in early. Oh. Looks like we're open because we have the pizza. Okay. Wait from Janice does not have any questions. Reasonable. But questions are what keep the office hours. Always asking fun things. Okay, I'm going to remove this one, but I'll also answer it. Is there a way for David to mark questions and here's answer to declutter? Yes. Worked over it with them 2 weeks ago. Why do the office hours amounts keep multiplying? Now there are 4 of them for some reason. Tough event. Yeah, I'm going to have to ask Discord about it because this is starting to get out of hand. People will come if you blast them 5 times. The problem is they're each considered separate events, so like you can't start all of them at once. It starts one of them, and it seems to be random which one it actually is. sensible question. Mine, why? Fair. Because someone accidentally typed Midjourney officers are 4. No, because like last week there were 3 for some reason. Sometimes it's 2. Sometimes it's just the one like it should be. Gabriel, you're clearly not at office hours enough, because that has been around for longer than you have. Just never on time. Fair. Link's office hours not working. Possibly related to the fact that there are 4 different copies of the event or something like that. I'm slowly making new ones. No more business. I'm going to talk to Discord first and see if they can get it figured out, because canceling and remaking events is annoying. It gets rid of everyone that had already the notification for it. I just don't think office hours just like Beetlejuice. Gaming stream? What about gaming stream? While we wait. Not right now, no. I have been considering doing some casual gaming streams in the gaming VC though. That doesn't use much, not really. Who picks the topics for the daily theme? Me. I can confirm that there will be things being done, like Gabriel said. I've seen some of them. They are indeed things and fun. Do I keep track of all the daily themes I've done? No. I probably should, but no. Hello. If you're talking, I cannot hear you. Well, wait for David to get back. Here's the HiveMind link again.
Hello.
Hello. You
I
are
really do
actually.
think sometimes it blocks my voice whenever you're already in the channel. Like it's something about like the first person has voice and the second doesn't.
It's weird because every other time it seems fine. If I join while someone else is already there. I think it's just Discord being weird with events, like the fact that it duplicated the office hours event 4 times today.
I see. I will put the message up and we'll let people join.
Got some nice subtle background music today.
Oh, you can hear the background music?
Yeah, it's picking up a little.
Just like a beat or what is it?
Yeah, just a few notes here and there. Looks like we're about leveled off.
All right, hello everybody. This is the weekly Midjourney office hours. Every week we talk about what we're working on and what we're thinking about, and we take questions, and that's it. We're trying to use these little tools to ask questions. If you want to submit any questions, I think Ancient has the link and he'll dump them in there. So you can just submit questions and rank them while we're talking. And so hopefully by the time I'm through the status update, we have questions ready to go. Cool. So let's get started. The main things going on right now are we're doing an image editor where you can edit images externally. I think the moderation is starting to get pretty good. I think it's mostly blocked on UI now, and we're starting to put the web team more on it. We just came out of the offsite, so we had a week of very little productivity and a lot of people getting to know each other. So most people, I mean, I kind of talk to everybody every week, but it's very easy for at a remote company for people to like not talk to each other like over 6 months unless they're in person. So it's good that everybody's kind of getting to, you know, meet and talk and kind of get more comfortable with all the different projects. Um, we don't have a lot of management, so it's a bit like everyone kind of doing what they need to do. But on the flip side, it kind of means like you kind of get out what you get in. So it's very easy if like you're focused on things to not know what's happening outside of the company, or if you don't ask what's going on somewhere, no one's going to tell you. So it's very easy for people to kind of get a little disconnected from each other at times. So when everyone's in person, they just kind of talk and they connect and they kind of have, everyone builds their bigger pictures. And I think it's healthy. It's usually not new for me because I spend all my time talking to everybody all the time, but I have to kind of like acknowledge the human side and how it's really important for everybody else. And I think everybody was very happy and had a really great time, and that's good. We just didn't get a lot done last week, so this week we're gearing back up again. There's been some more meetings to try to, I think, get everybody aligned on the different front end stuff. Um, but people should be now on the front end side. We're cranking more towards um, the editor. Um, we're trying to look at more advanced personalization features, but also like faster personalization, like setup. I think I'm like slightly more focused on faster personalization setup than advanced personalization features right now because like if you want to create many different personalization profiles, still takes a long time. We had a faster way to do it, but I think I'm unhappy with that other fast way of doing it. So kind of want to spend more time trying to have a really nice way to set up a personalization profile, but it also kind of is the same as onboarding personalization. We're definitely getting more people using personalization now, which is really important because it makes a big difference. If you're not using it, you should use it. Go to the website, click personalization. But it's still a very small minority of users who are using it. And so, I kind of think, yeah, trying to make it easier, trying to make it so everyone's on it remains a higher priority than adding a ton of advanced features there. Um, yeah, which I'm sure is frustrating for people who already use it, but I don't know what to say. Uh, yeah. Um, but we have there's definitely like a good growth curve on personalization now that we put a little tab for it. So it is happening, but I think it just needs to be faster. We probably have to be like more obnoxious about it. Um, there are definitely like different ways of integrating into the creation flow too, which we're exploring. So we have like basically a bunch of fast ways of kicking off the personalization and a bunch of fast ways of integrating into the creation flow. We're going to test those and hopefully some of them work, but personalization is definitely pretty tricky. Like it's probably the only AI system in the world right now that has any kind of personalization. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty cool that we have it all. I hope everybody enjoys it. Niji does have personalization too, so just reminder, give it a shot. Um, let's see what else is going on. Lots of models being trained. We're collecting a lot of 3D data. Probably start training some 3D models next week. A lot of video models are being trained. They continue to get better. The V7 models are being trained, and then usually there's like a bug, and then we retrain it, then there's a bug, and then we retrain it, and there's a bug. So the V7s, it's going through training, but hasn't yet sort of successfully. We're not obviously on the sort of like final training run for V7. We're kind of iterating on large scale training versions of it. Um, yeah, there's a pretty big like upgrade that's basically like 100% conservative. Like there will be a much better prompt understanding and there will be much better multilingual. Both those things are basically solved. I think there's a lot of questions around the speed of the model, the cost of the model, like how much do we want to try to make it really fast versus how much do we want to try to make it really good. There's always some tension there. And then there's like how much we're going to actually make the model simpler versus like just sort of continue to take on tech debt of the complexity of our system, which is, you know, probably it's definitely the most complicated image system in the world. And it definitely makes it challenging to do iteration on. Um, V7 is really challenging insofar that like we're trying to change everything at once. We should not have done that. In the future, we're going to try to break them out into one thing at a time. But because V7 is kind of changing everything simultaneously, it's probably like a riskier, like more slow release than any we've had before. So we're going to change that a lot in the future, but it's not clear there's a great way to address it in the short term. So kind of just taking the pain and doing our best and trying to get through it. But we are definitely making lots of progress across the board. We're just probably doing a little too many things at once. Um, yeah, what else? Lots of good data from the psychometric surveys. Appreciate everybody for doing those. A lot of good demographic stuff too. We're kind of preparing to release a feature that lets people do the demographic exploring, and we'll probably do like a nice blog post too. Um, and we'll try to release some versions of the hive mind things so you can use them on your own. That'll be fun. We're gonna try to move towards a standalone psychometrics thing that's gonna be like more in depth and really cool. So that'll be exciting. There's a lot of like secret huge projects going on right now that are kind of gearing up. Um, I want to say that's it. Yeah, video, 3D, fast models, V7 models, um, editor. We'll put the depth reference stuff into the depth into the editor into the editor too, which is makes it take a little longer, but I think it feels more coherent because it's more of like a feels more like a photo filter than it does like a normal creation flow. We've been debating a lot on some organizational things, like we're debating between like folder groups right now and like tags. There's some pros and cons to both. Um, Storytelling team is supposed to be moving towards like more demos and letting people use things. And, but was unfortunately not able to give them a lot of time to check in on things last week. But they do have a version that people internally can use, so that's cool. Um, yeah, definitely, it's a good team. They're doing good work. Um, yeah, a lot of big crazy projects going on too underneath the surface. Um, Trying to not get too caught up in the like the AI space of everyone just trying to like be loud all the time and raise a lot of money. Um, like we kind of just have our thing, trying to work on important stuff and trying to make the important things good. So it's definitely a bit exhausting us sometimes about like, yeah, it can definitely be a bit exhausting where everyone's trying to say like, I am announcing a thing every day and it's the most important thing ever, but then nobody uses it like a week later. So um, yeah, whereas I am pretty happy how pretty much all the features we've added in the last year are pretty sticky and everyone uses them and likes them. And they're like real long eternal features that will probably still exist in 10 years. Um, as like on a conceptual level. So we're not sure yet how we'll make the editor restricted to different users. We've definitely thought about doing like yearly subscription as a requirement because almost everybody who abuses like almost 100% of the like, almost all the moderation action happens on people who have monthly subscriptions, not yearly subscriptions. Because a lot of people know that they're going to do something bad and they don't, and they know if they're going to get banned, they want a monthly subscription. And so the yearly people just generally don't mess with things as much. So whether it's pro yearly or standard yearly, I don't think we've decided yet, but we'll probably start off with pro yearly just to keep it simple and like not have too high volume. In general, it doesn't really make sense to do timelines on the features because everything is just late all the time. Um, Yeah. Um, we kind of just say it's ready when it's ready, but we'll tell you what we're working on. Um, all right. I think that's it. So I'm gonna look at the hive mind thing now. I wasn't looking at it, so see if there's any questions that people have. Where is it? Um, all right. Let's see what we got. Not a ton of votes today, but definitely thank you for everyone for voting. Over the next 5 years, Midjourney is like a pure technology standpoint. A lot of things are moving towards like real time open world simulation. So that means like you can being able to simulate these sort of like universes. You can walk around, things are moving, you can interact with them. I think that's just kind of where the general technology is going. Outside the sort of general technology, like Midjourney is trying to be not just focused on images or media or worlds, but the broader process of creation, reflection, imagination, coordination. And so you'll see like a lot more weird and crazy projects that are not strictly related to making images, but are just really exciting and really important. Um, so I think it's a combination of like the general thing going towards these real-time open worlds, and then a lot of general work on the infrastructure and process and pillars of creation, and then a few other crazy but important projects. Um, yeah. Um, how has my view of the world changed in the last year? I don't know. It definitely. Mm, mm, I'm probably like a year ago, I was like a little bit more optimistic about like the Gen Alpha, Gen Z people. Like, and now I'm starting to see that like every generation has its challenges, and so I'm a little worried about the young people sometimes, and I hope they can like conquer their anxiety and not just try to get likes on Twitter and you know focus and make great things. So I think I'm like a little more worried with young people, which is weird to say. Um, let's see. I'm like generally pretty happy to see like the swing of culture towards like more consumer things and more hardware things again. Um, I definitely see like the hunger for more meaningful, like substantial stuff. Um, I don't know. How's your view of the world changed? There's a lot of like sort of subtle things. I don't know if I can put into words. There's like subtle things and not subtle things, right? So there's like not subtle things like wow, like anti-Semitism is still a thing. And then there's like more subtle things, which is like how like how does like how does coordination get done on different scales? Like how do you make things go on their own? Like how do you boot up lots of teams at the same time? Um like physicsy things and reading things and I don't know. As I don't know if there's any like singular things that are but it's been a cool year. Um definitely been a lot of cool stuff this year, and I hope unfortunately a lot of it I feel like hasn't quite like breached to the surface of people's awareness, but I think next year is going to be pretty crazy. A lot of stuff I think coming into the like become being announced, and being available, things like that. Definitely like the presidential election is going to create sort of like a dark haze over 2024. So hopefully in 2025, regardless of what happens, it like lets people think about the future, you know? Um, yeah. San Francisco is coming back though, so that's good. Definitely like trees a lot more this year. I don't know why. I'm going through my forest phase. Like my child phase was like an air phase, then my teenage years were like a water phase, or now I'm going through my forest phase. That means one day I'm gonna get to go through my fire phase. That's gonna be really exciting. Maybe in my 40s, 50s, go through a fire phase. Anyway, um, preliminary results from the latest survey. We're still doing a lot of the analysis. Um, Everything has an impact in its own ways. I think some of the demographics stuff is almost like a little bit easier to understand than some of the psychometric stuff. But yeah, it's definitely all in there. It's going to take us a bit to fully, I think, wrap our head around the psychometric and aesthetic connections. I think the demographic and aesthetic connections we're starting to get a pretty good sight on, and we'll probably release it like a report and let people play with things. What is something that you believe is true that most people don't? Aliens! Aliens! I mean, uh, as like a physics space person, um, yeah, I have this like belief that the universe is like filled with life and variety and complexity and uh, intelligence and lots of things already. But the only place in the universe where there are humans is here, and so I always feel obligated to take the unique opportunity to try to help figure out what we can be, like what can unique humans uniquely be, and like what are we today. Um, will be enough serendipity in the new Midjourney models. I think so. It's kind of tunable. I really like there to be more unexpected crazy things. Um, yeah, it's a good reminder. Uh, we have some really good ideas for ways to making the aesthetics way 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 better still. So to me, and that's one of the most exciting things. That's one thing that's always most exciting to me is the sort of aesthetic research. So I see a lot of opportunity for more weird, unexpected results. Will the personalization profiles carry over from V6 to V7? We don't know yet. I think the answer is probably yes. But also, it might just be faster to start a new one. So I don't think we fully know yet. Is Midjourney working on handling more complex and abstract prompts? Yeah, the next version should definitely be much, much better at complex and weird prompting. Will V7 get rid of any features V6 has? I don't think V7 will have all the features of V6 at launch. Like, for example, I think we're going to try to build a new character reference algorithm for V7 that should work a lot better, but that means that it won't have the V6 one immediately. Like, it's very possible that a lot of, like, you might, like, most of the time when we release a new model, it doesn't have all the features. I don't think we're planning on removing any feature right now. It's possible chaos will go away if depending on how we, or it's possible like some of the weird and chaos things might go away depending on how the algorithms change, but then we'd be able to bring it back later. Yeah, hard to say, but I think the goal is to make it so it's a lot more stuff. Um, how will the upcoming video model compare to existing video models? I don't know. Um, we know that a lot of the current video models, when you put a Midjourney image into them, kind of melt a bit because they can't really duplicate the original Midjourney image. So our video model should not do that. I think we are building the models a little bit more around the workflows, like trying to make it comfortable and integrate into the current experience and fun. So, I mean, I'm definitely not focusing on Hollywood and replacing movies, but I think it'll be more fun. We're going to try to not make it really expensive. So I think the goal is like fun, easy, not expensive, but we'll see. I don't think we know enough yet to say exactly what the video models are going to look like. All we know is that uh, there aren't really any remaining big technical challenges. It's mainly like finalizing the data massaging and deciding on the different parameters of the thing and doing the final big drones and then deciding between the V6 or V7 video model. Will we one day be able to iterate on image, like no, make that person face the camera? Yeah, I think so. I just don't have any specific thoughts on when we're going to be able to do it, but definitely possible. What mediums of thought are you exploring besides visual? We're definitely playing with some language. But I think, mostly visual language. Will you consider keeping random sref on V7? Yeah, I think we will have an sref random on V7. I'm not convinced that we'll make the codes consistent across them. But you can always use sref image. And it should transfer over roughly. I kind of want to redo sref for V7 and make it better. How do you think about focus within Midjourney? It kind of goes back and forth. I think one of the things that's been plaguing me this year is like, all I ever really wanted my whole life was to have like a cool lab to work on cool projects. And I have sort of the opportunity to make that. Or I could just keep working on adding subfolders and stuff like that. And at some point there's this feeling of like, I won't be able to live with myself if I don't try to go big and do all the crazy things I'd like to do. So I think there's definitely a part of this year where I'm just trying to kick up a lot of the crazy projects and get them so they be moving without me working on them. And now they are all moving without me working on them, so I feel much better. And so now that they're moving, yeah, I'm like, I'm not bothered as much. Everything could still go faster, but I'm no longer bothered by their like things that are not happening like at all. So everything's kind of moving now, which is cool. Um, I well, sorry, it was a bug, crazy bug. Um, and I think now that all the projects are moving, I'm like focusing back on the regular Midjourney stuff and trying to just make sure that we're not too scattered and that things move across the line and that there's more of a process um, that sort of is self-organizing going forward because I can kind of see where things were organized and where things were not organized, and so it's good to kind of see where things break down so that way you can build structure so that they run on their own without me just sort of having to constantly stay on top of all the things. Yeah, I do really worry. Like it's very easy for a competent person to solve problems by just always being there. But I heard a jazz musician say once, when you play the music right, even in the silence, the song keeps going. So I think that's not just true for music, but also for like everything we make. And so, the goal for me is to really try to find ways to build things at Midjourney where they kind of just go, even when I'm not around. And so I think in some ways it's been good this year to kick up a bunch of new projects and then watch some of the other projects like act more idiosyncratic because it helps me understand how I need to change things to make things run more smoothly on their own. And think the more I can make things run smoothly on their own, the more things that we can do broadly as a company. If things are bottlenecked on me, then we can never work on more than one feature at once, which would be no bueno. So, um, yeah. There's lots of ways to solve this, but usually the way that people solve this is they just hire like 1,000 people, and then you do more things, but everything kind of sucks from then on, or it's just stuff that people don't need. And so in general, it's like very hard to kind of scale past a small number of people and still be effective. So it's sort of like the human and organizational scaling problem, which is a pretty unsolved problem in the world, and I think is a source of a lot of issues. But it's something that I think about a lot, and something I think we're going to get much better at. Um, yeah, like yeah, even though like OpenAI has like 3,000 employees, they don't get. We have like 50. You know, it's not clear they get like 40 times more done than us. So like you really can't just hire more people. It's a very sort of like delicate and artisanal process to building organizations that just get a lot of that just get the stuff done, but like do things well. I mean, even companies like Apple, I think, have largely failed to do this without Steve Jobs. So yeah, I do want to try to make Midjourney a place where there's lots of things that are kind of going on all the time that are being done really well and are kind of shipping, and I can even like not pay attention one week. It'll happen. But just like every organization is sort of a learning process, kind of like building a new person. For the language models you're exploring, I imagine they're not assistancy. Yeah, most of the language models we try to do are more around like the storytelling and creativity. I really want to make some like charismatic and beautiful language models, but we haven't quite had the people in time to do them. But hopefully one day. Will a new CREF allow for multiple characters? Yeah, we definitely know that people want CREF with multiple characters, and we have a lot of ideas on how to do it. I think when we get to V7, we're going to start looking at that again, because it's definitely one of the top things we're hearing from people right now. What are the most fascinating edge cases you've discovered to date? I don't know what this means, what this is referring to. Um, I'm sorry. If anyone wants to type real quick, if anyone knows in the channel. Does anyone know what that means? Don't know what it means. Okay. How is Midjourney approaching understanding the negation in language prompts? We're changing the whole language part of the image model for the V7, so it should just be way better. We'll see what it doesn't do, but it's going to be way better. What kind of bugs or issues do you encounter with training a model? We like messed up one of our data, so like it was like missing a lot of missing a lot of the words. We did another thing where um, we forgot to deduplicate some of the images, so there were like 100 of the same image over and over again, and it was having a hard time learning. Like, things like that. There were a lot of data issues. Sometimes there's issues with like some of the architecture. Like we decided that we're not sure if we like, so we're gonna like simplify and make it like try to make it less finicky. Things like that. When are we gonna get personalization settings that come from the test we did? Yeah, probably in the next month or so. Any Niji updates? We're gonna try to make the Niji model and the regular model kind of two modes of the same model for V7. And if we can do that successfully, that will help us um, like keep updates a lot, like update things a lot faster. When was the last time you changed your mind? What was it about? I mean, I change my mind all the time. Like yesterday, we were talking about how tags are a bad idea, and I was thinking we should do like folder subgroups. Um, and today I was like, maybe we actually should do the tags. So I don't know. But now the team is debating about it. I'm looking at it now. They're all like, yes, no, yes, no. I fucking hate organization. There's like clearly a million ways of doing it. I don't really like to organize anyway, but everybody has a different way of doing it. It's not clear that organizing actually makes you more effective at things. But obviously, I think the website has a weakness right now where it's a little hard to like manage projects, and it should be a little easier. And I agree about that. Will successful prompting in V7 be completely different? I think prompting will be different in V7. It'll handle more complicated prompts and also work better for simpler prompts, but we'll see. There's definitely going to be there's definitely a lot of things coming to the website. But I think we're definitely trying to make like simple but powerful things more than we're trying to add like extra power user features. We are still planning advanced personalization features. The first thing we're going to do is just multiple personalization profiles. We've also thought about doing like a new thing that's kind of like a style system, but it's a little exhausting because it's like, how is it distinct from personalization, and everyone gets confused about what personalization is, and yeah, we're trying to. It's a little complicated to. I think we're constantly being assaulted by complexity. And we can just like make things complicated, but then like only 1% of users can figure it out. And so then we're kind of wasting our time, I think, in some ways, because we really do want to make stuff that like the majority of people will use. Yeah. What happens when you click undo? I'm not sure on the image ranking pairs. I think it just like tries to ignore it. But sometimes it doesn't. I would just not click the undo thing as much, to be honest. What's the image or moment that surprised you most with Midjourney? I mean, I think the really early days, like there was the first image I ever made that felt like it was better than what I would have imagined. I think that was pretty shocking. That's probably the most like. And there was time where I just made like 10,000 images at once and got lost in the images and had a bit of a panic attack. Not in a bad way, but like in a bit of a crisis. There's a little bit of a crisis. Like, oh my god, what is this? There aren't. Yeah, a lot of people like more control than personalization. I definitely agree. We're gonna do more advanced personalization. I don't know. There's not really any control parameters you can tweak with right now. It just doesn't work that way. We definitely could do stuff one day that would make it more tunable, but it's really hard to tune it because it depends on the prompt. So it's not like a style. We definitely could have like a tunable style system. So that, is another thing that we could do. Will you ever allow users to add images to the data set? Maybe. It's definitely not worth it right now because we have too much data right now and we're having a hard time going through all of it. I think the new models will have more coherence. Then we'll have models that have way more coherence. 3D and video, they are kind of similar. They might be merged together. I don't think we know enough yet about the final like I think we know more about video than 3D in some ways right now. Like we kind of know video works. We just have to decide the resolution and the frame rate and the optimization. Whereas video, there's like still 3 or 4 ways we could do it. So through 3D, there's still several ways we could do it. So, yeah, it's possible that we will try to make it into one workflow, but I think we can't really figure out workflows are something that usually follows technology. So I imagine the workflows will come months after the models are released. What specific problem or challenge are you trying to address when I made Midjourney? I really think about I really think a lot about like how can we make tools of sublime creation that are like how do we make tools of like sublime creative power, sublime creative powers that we can then use to remake the world. So I just think that there's a lot of problems uh, and the only way to solve the problems is to make things. But if we want to really get ahead and solve all the problems, we need these sort of like very powerful tools of creation. And not just tools of creation, but sort of like processes of creation and pillars of creation and infrastructure for creation. So it has to go a lot beyond what we're doing today. Will you ever make a smart background remover? We are definitely planning on doing something around backgrounds and transparency. It's probably something between V7 and V9, but it's something that's on our list. And I think after we release V7, some of these new models, we kind of want to do a big feature rating exercise again, and then we'll see what people are asking us to do the most, and we'll definitely focus on that. Do you feel the community has become less important? No, to me, the community is very important still, but I think that we are running into an issue, which is that um, we're not doing a great job with community on the website. And then Discord, I think, has never really been able to support community at the scale that we have. So we're kind of in this weird space where like the website isn't quite the community what we want. The Discord thing is sort of like always under the strain of the community that we have. And so I think there's a lot of questions of like where we should take it from here. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that we, and then on top of that, like as the website is available to everyone now, like most people who join Midjourney are not using the Discord, and so if most of the community stuff is on the Discord, then most people are joining are no longer in the community as it sort of traditionally is. So I think there are like the rooms, but I think the way the Midjourney rooms work, it might be that it's hard to say if they're like successful or not successful. It could just be that like only 5% of the community ever talk to anybody. Um, I think a lot of it does depend on like when we release a new model, people talk to each other more. And when we haven't released a new model for like a year, people kind of just like get into their creative holes. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but um, the community definitely has sort of its ebbs and flows depending on what's happening in the world and in the tech space. And I think we're definitely in a weird place with the community right now where I think um, we probably have to change a lot of things, but I don't know what it is. And so I want to play with that. We're going to definitely play with a lot more crazy things over um, the next year, but I can't really say what and when. I don't know myself. Um, any chance for an in-person meetup in Europe? It's possible, but we don't really have any event people right now, and I don't want to spend any of my time doing events. Um, like, yeah, but well, we have some people who might be want to do some events, but yeah, it's definitely a thing that we don't quite have. Um, yeah, it's an interesting question. I would like to, I really would like to do more community events in person. It's just, it'd be really great to. It's a question of like, can I find a person to do it without me, or does it have to be a thing that I have to do? So right now, I feel like I have to make a bunch of things, so it's hard for me to focus on the events as much. But I have some people who've said they might be good for it. It's kind of a recruiting problem, so we'll see. And I know a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of you want to throw a party, but from my perspective, it's really hard to say like, you know, which person do you have throw the party? You know, I guess I could talk to everybody for many hours and spend a few weeks trying to find like a party person, but there's a lot of other people we have to hire right now. Like I'd much rather hire a few more people for the website because we really need a few more front end people who can also do design so they can kind of be single stakeholders of features. Uh, do you envision Midjourney evolving into a platform where users don't need any technical skills to bring their concepts or visions to life? Uh, well, I don't really know what tech really depends on your definition of technical skills. Like, is writing a technical skill? Yeah, I mean, I think what was technical changes over time. I don't really ever want to make something where it's like make me a story about a cat and then it kind of does everything. Um, yeah, I usually think of it more of as like a car is a vehicle for motion, and we're trying to make a vehicle for imagination. So like you move through the use of a car, and you can imagine through the use of Midjourney. So that's a big way that tends to be like more of a guiding rule for how I think of it. Can you give us a ballpark for how many users Midjourney has? No, we have a lot. I mean, we don't have a free tier like most of the other companies do. So like like most users of most AI services are not paying any money, whereas for us, we don't have any free tier. So like that's going to give us less users in general, just because like we don't have that huge bulk that makes up like most of the company's user bases. But um, but I'm pretty happy with the size of it. Like we haven't really been growing that much lately, but we're not shrinking either. And then it's not really clear if there's anybody growing in the image or video space. So it just seems like that the main area where we're seeing, yeah. So, but I mean, like, I don't really have any investors. So, the goal isn't to like just grow as much as possible and eat the world. To me, the goal is to like have a stable business and to have enough money to work on crazy projects that will make the world a better place. And I think we have that. I mean, it's also really great to have a community that we can work with to like do experiments, like some of these aesthetics experiments. Um, we've had a hard time finding people who do both front end and design. There's a lot of people who know how to do React, and there's a lot of people who know how to use Figma, but seem to be very few people who send us an application where they have some things that like look nicely designed that they also implemented. So yeah, I think we could definitely use more there. We don't have a great like applicant tracking recruiting process too. So like part of that is probably on us. But I mean, the general rule of thumb for startups is that like most of the really important hires you make, you reach out to, they don't reach out to you. So that's also like not totally crazy. We definitely could use more. You don't want to just hire anyone. You always want to hire the best people. And sometimes you can have really good people who are just really bad to work with. So they have to be good and nice to work with, you know? Um, will there be a demo of the storytelling tool over this year? Yeah, I think so. Hopefully it's a lot sooner. Any recommendations for someone who wants to apply to a front end design role? Make some projects, like have a website or a blog and have projects, and then just try to get somebody at Midjourney to see that and then express your interest. Um, there's a lot of people who in technology who want jobs but don't want to like make a website or do projects, and that's usually a bad sign. So like do some projects and show some stuff off, you know. Um, you said you have something better than a free. I don't know what this one says. Sorry. You said you have something better than free version on Midjourney. I don't know what that means. I don't remember saying that. Sorry, I don't know. Oh, I mean, we've thought about having free tiers of various kinds, but I think this is something that we don't really want to do a free tier just to like we want to try to like if we're gonna lose money if we have a free tier, we're kind of like taking money from some users and giving it to others in some ways. And so we only want to have like a free tier if it's like benefiting the people who are paying. So we have ideas for that, but I would say it's not the highest priority right now. Um, yeah, something that I would like to do though would be nice to have more free stuff. Um, disconnected. Do we get disconnected? If you have over rated 10,000, if you have more than 10,000 images on personalization, it will keep evolving. but it won't have very much of an effect. We are looking at having personalization that's more integrated into the creation flow. Why do you hide remix? I don't know. I think remix is kind of a weird feature. Uh, I think we're trying not to have too many buttons on the light box, like especially ones that are kind of confusing. So I don't know. Um, yeah, I think we're just trying to make it cleaner, like make the user interface cleaner. I think most people who use Midjourney are just kind of playing around making images they like. It's kind of a wandering process. Any chance we could load an image from the Explore gallery directly into the editor? And you could definitely save things to your hard drive and then load it there. Well, there's already a stylized 0. We could definitely do a P0. It definitely seems like an advanced user feature that almost no one will use, but it's pretty easy to add P0 or P off or P none. I think that was sort of a bigger challenge. Is like 0 is bad because it's not really a slider. Probably more like a P off or P none or default or something. So this is sort of like a non-obvious way to like not clear what it should be. Um, yeah. I mean, I never really, I don't usually turn it on and off. I find that personalization on at like a stylized 100 is pretty much always better for me. It should be that way for him too. So in theory, you shouldn't be bouncing back and forth. Like maybe you don't want to put it to 1,000, but you know, what features would you like in the web app today if you could snap your fingers? I mean, the ones we're working on mostly. I would like like a bigger batch working mode, something that's like some big way of working with huge batches and finding like the diamonds. Um, that's probably one thing I'd like to do. Um, Sometimes it's fun to have like really fast image generation, like we've played around with that, but I think the bigger batches probably what I would do. We're still trying to work around making that like a good experience, but I think we have some ideas and we're going to be testing some cool ideas this week. Can we get the possibility to make a describe on a generated image without downloading and uploading it? I don't know what that's for. We do want to make describe a lot better in general, but it's just I think describe is like the one thing that the website does worse than Discord. We have a great idea on how to make it better on the website, but we just don't have enough web front end people to implement features, even when they're fully designed out sometimes. So I think, unfortunately, um, it's kind of on the hook on the like on the back burner right now. What bothers you most about Midjourney right now? I just want everything to go faster. I want the images to go faster. I want the features to go faster. I want the images to be bigger. I want bigger batches. I want more. I want the 3D in the video and I want the better explore page we're working on. I forgot to mention that earlier. I want like the bigger, crazier community stuff. I want all the things. Um, yeah. There's definitely like a more faster type of vibe, but we're doing our best. Um, what do you think about the Colorado office? Blah blah. The Colorado artist. Yeah, we had him on once. Uh, he came on once. I tried to tell him that like to just focus on building beautiful things and to spend less energy like fighting reporters or like like try not to like don't spend your energy in conflict with the world. Spend your energy creating in the world. So I think that was my main thing that I pushed to him. There's just like, but some people like yeah. Um, What do you see as the biggest bottleneck in the user learning process? I mean, there's just like too many things sometimes, but also like the speed is a little slow. So the faster the image generation and in theory, the faster people can learn things. We would like to have more interactive documentation too, but we need to hire some people specifically for that. Any new book recommendations? My book recommendations are usually the same for like unless you've already read all the books that I recommend. I pretty much keep recommending the same books. I think there's 2 book lists on my Twitter. I can repost them on the Discord. Uh, here you go. Short stories. And yep. All right, yeah, what do I keep going? Do I don't think we're gonna have a trusted badge. I think we're just gonna like price gate things for now, but we definitely thought about doing different trusted badges. Um, yeah, we just don't quite have enough people to like run a program that scales to like millions of people. Like at some point, people are asking us to implement our own DMV, so I'm trying to avoid that. But I have some ideas. What are the bugs in V7 training? Mostly just like data bugs. Are you sad that there's an AI called Orb now? Sorry, we trademarked Orb. You can't use it. Orb is trademarked Midjourney. I'm not convinced we're ever going to make an Orb, but it's cool that we trademarked it. Um, we definitely. I'm definitely trying to not make a Midjourney community on like every other person's social platform. It just is exhausting. I think we kind of have to do our own thing, but I think I need to like still meditating a bit on it. All right, I think we might be wrapping up today with those questions. Um, uh, let's see now. I'll check back to the Discord, all the different channels. Um, I think that's mostly it for the day. Let me think if there's any other cool stuff. The weather is sunny and beautiful in San Francisco. Some nice sunlight coming down through some flowers near me. Things are all moving like they should be. Things could be going a little faster. There are more things that could be happening, but I suppose that's how it always is. So, you know, there's just sometimes it's got to be content with a nice day and the nice temperatures and air and the light on the flowers. uh, we'll keep doing our best. Um, I would really love to do like more voice with people, and I would really like to do a swagathon where we do like a lot of brainstorming for like swag, but I think I've had a bit of an intense week with just like talking to people every day with the offsite. So I think I might save it for next week. Um, we'll plan on the swagathon for next week. And for this week, I think it's just time to get back to building stuff. Get back to exploring and building and just sort of yeah, enjoy a nice heat wave. So I'm gonna get back to that, and hope everybody has a nice day and a nice week. And we do these every week, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. And I used to do them for like 4 hours straight. I apologize for not doing them right now, but trying to figure out some new formats, new ways of making it fun, ways of getting more people in. Maybe we'll do a multi-platform version in the future, but there's a lot more stuff cooking. So have a nice day, everyone, and see you next week. Bye.
découvrir l'IA d'aujourd'hui, prête à nous éblouir. Des modèles tout neufs, du code et des pixels. Viens explorer avec moi, c'est juste sensationnel.
Aujourd'hui, dans notre nouveau format Actualité, on plonge dans un sujet brûlant, les nouvelles avancées d'OpenAI et Anthropic, et surtout, comment leur dernier modèle dépasse les transformeurs classiques, du moins en prétention. Est-ce de la ruse ou est-ce que ces nouveaux modèles résonnent vraiment? Si vous avez suivi mes vidéos précédentes, vous savez déjà beaucoup sur les transformeurs, donc pas besoin de réexpliquer en détail. Aujourd'hui, on va directement explorer ce qui change avec les nouveaux modèles. Alors, qu'est-ce qui fait que ces modèles sont si spéciaux? Pourquoi tout le monde en parle? Et surtout, quelles sont les réelles innovations par rapport aux transformeurs que vous connaissez déjà. Dans cette vidéo, on va voir ensemble comment ils ont surmonté certaines des limitations des modèles classiques, pourquoi ces modèles sont capables de raisonner comme jamais, alors pourquoi OpenAI ou même Anthropic ont-ils décidé d'aller encore plus loin que les transformeurs classiques. Si vous avez déjà suivi mes vidéos précédentes, vous savez que les transformeurs ont révolutionné le traitement du langage naturel grâce à leur capacité à traiter de longues séquences et à traiter le contexte. Mais les transformeurs ont leurs limites. Premièrement, quand il s'agit de tâches complexes nécessitant du raisonnement logique, les transformeurs traditionnels montrent rapidement leurs faiblesses. Par exemple, essayez de leur demander de résoudre un problème mathématique ou de suivre un raisonnement étape par étape et vous verrez souvent des réponses incohérentes. Ensuite, le problème de séquences longues. Bien que les transformeurs soient meilleurs que les modèles précédents pour traiter le contexte à longue portée, ils restent limités par la taille de leur fenêtre d'attention. En d'autres termes, dès que le texte dépasse certaines longueurs en tokens, le modèle peut commencer à oublier les premières parties de la séquence ou pire, mélanger le contexte. Et enfin, les biais. Comme beaucoup de modèles de langage, les transformeurs peuvent hériter des biais présents dans les données d'entraînement. Cela peut entraîner des réponses biaisées ou même inappropriées, ce qui pose des problèmes en termes d'éthique et de sécurité. Donc, avec ces défis en tête, il pourrait être temps de passer à la vitesse supérieure. Et c'est là que les nouveaux modèles entrent en jeu. Il ne s'agit pas juste de quelques ajustements cosmétiques ou d'une augmentation du nombre de paramètres, on parle d'une révision en profondeur qui pousse les capacités de ces modèles à raisonner ou pas, comprendre ou pas, et générer des réponses de manière beaucoup plus cohérente et fiable. Attends, pourquoi tu nous fais skier avec tes ou pas encore? Maintenant qu'on a vu les limites des transformeurs classiques, parlons de ce que tout le monde attend, les nouveautés. Ce n'est pas juste un ajustement ici ou là, on parle de réelles percées techniques qui font vraiment la différence. Première grande innovation possible, la chaîne de pensée ou chain of thought en anglais. Alors, c'est quoi exactement? Imaginez un modèle capable de raisonner étape par étape, comme un humain qui résout un problème complexe. Au lieu de simplement générer une réponse rapide, le modèle décompose la tâche en plusieurs petites étapes. Ça lui permet de mieux comprendre le contexte et surtout de suivre une logique plus claire pour arriver à la bonne réponse. Prenons un exemple concret. Si vous demandez à ce modèle de résoudre un problème mathématique complexe ou de prendre une décision qui nécessite plusieurs étapes de réflexion au lieu de donner une réponse immédiate, il vous montrera comment il raisonne à chaque étape avant de donner une solution finale. Mais si tu demandes à GPT-4 de décomposer en plusieurs étapes, ça ne fera pas la même chose? Pas exactement. Et là où c'est encore plus puissant, c'est qu'il garde en mémoire les étapes précédentes, ce qui lui permet de rester cohérent tout au long du processus. Cette capacité à simuler une réflexion humaine rend le modèle beaucoup plus fiable pour des tâches complexes, là où les transformeurs classiques ont tendance à se perdre. Deuxième nouveauté possible, la gestion des longues séquences. Vous vous souvenez, je vous parlais de la difficulté des transformeurs à traiter de très longues séquences de texte. Ils ont complètement repensé la manière dont leur modèle traite ce genre de texte. Grâce à des optimisations dans les mécanismes d'attention, ces nouveaux modèles sont capables de gérer des textes bien plus longs sans perdre de vue les informations du début et surtout en parallélisant la chaîne de réflexion pour être sûr qu'une étape de la réflexion ne soit pas ignorée ou perdue due à un débordement de contexte. Cela signifie que vous pouvez lui donner des documents entiers à analyser et ils sauront toujours maintenir le bon contexte même après des milliers de mots et ce même si sa chaîne de raisonnement ferait exploser son contexte dans les versions précédentes. Et c'est une constante évolution dans le domaine des intelligences artificielles. Le troisième point possible, la réduction des biais et l'amélioration de la sécurité. Ils ont également dû travailler dur sur l'éthique et la sécurité de ces modèles. Vous savez que l'une des critiques des modèles de langage est qu'ils peuvent reproduire des biais présents dans les données sur lesquelles ils se sont entraînés. Pour atténuer ça, ils utilisent des méthodes comme l'apprentissage par renforcement avec feedback humain. Cela signifie que les humains viennent corriger et orienter les réponses du modèle afin de garantir qu'il produit des réponses plus éthiques et moins biaisées. Et bien sûr, des protocoles de modération automatique ont été intégrés pour éviter que le modèle ne génère des réponses inappropriées ou nuisibles. Donc, tu nous résumes là tout ce qui pourrait avoir changé dans les nouveaux modèles. Mais je n'arrive pas à voir clairement ce qu'ils ont plus. On y vient. Ce trio de nouveautés, chaîne de pensée, gestion du contexte étendu et réduction des biais, fait des nouveaux modèles de véritables bons en avant dans le domaine de l'intelligence artificielle. Maintenant, passons à la comparaison directe entre les transformeurs classiques et les nouveaux modèles. Pour vraiment comprendre la différence, je vais vous montrer des cas concrets où les améliorations sont flagrantes. Prenons un problème mathématique assez simple, mais qui nécessite plusieurs étapes de réflexion pour être résolu. Si on pose cette question à un transformeur classique, comme GPT-4o, voici ce qu'il produit. Donc la question, Marie a 4 sœurs et un frère appelé Paul. Combien de sœurs a Paul? On voit bien ici que le modèle donne une réponse immédiate, mais sans vraiment décomposer les étapes. Résultat, souvent une réponse erronée, car il n'a pas pris le temps de réfléchir à chaque étape du raisonnement. Maintenant, comparons cela avec le tout nouveau modèle d'OpenAI, O1. Regardez comment il décompose la tâche. Il raisonne étape par étape, simule une réflexion humaine et arrive à une réponse beaucoup plus cohérente. Cette chaîne de pensée permet au modèle de gérer des tâches complexes de manière beaucoup plus fiable. Ce n'est plus juste une prédiction aléatoire, c'est une réflexion structurée. Mais comment ça marche exactement? Dans les transformeurs classiques, le processus se déroule en une seule étape. Le modèle reçoit une séquence d'entrées comme une phrase ou un texte et à chaque étape, il prédit le mot suivant, basé sur ce qu'il a déjà vu. Cette prédiction séquentielle repose principalement sur le mécanisme d'attention. Le modèle attribue un poids à chaque mot de la séquence d'entrée via le mécanisme d'attention qu'on a déjà vu dans une vidéo précédente. Ensuite, à chaque étape de génération, il se concentre sur les mots ayant le plus de poids sans vraiment décomposer le problème. Cette approche fonctionne bien pour des tâches simples comme la compréhension des textes ou la traduction. Mais elle atteint ses limites lorsque le problème demande une réflexion plus structurée, avec plusieurs étapes successives. Bien sûr, GPT-4o et même GPT-4 Turbo, avec leur évolution de contexte et leur grande quantité de tokens, ils arrivaient quand même à bien se débrouiller. La chaîne de pensée, quant à elle, décompose